Hello, Internet, and welcome back to episode 7 of Shaggin Balls, a baseball discussion podcast. I am your co-host, Jake, joined by, as always, Pete, the Bronx Bomber.
What's up?
Kasey, the Seattle fan that not sure why.
What up, go Hams?
And then we got the man over there, Jrob, the Cardinals fan himself.
Yeah, boy.
And this format is going to be similar to what you guys are accustomed to. We're going to go into our pack openings and see what players we collect this week. And then we're going to go into an NL East discussion. Now, this isn't going to be your typical thing that you'll find on a lot of other baseball podcasts out there or shows. What we've done is we've pre-selected some teams that Kasey, Jrob, and I are going to defend as to why they're going to be good now or the best team in the next 3 years. And then Pete will be the deciding factor with all of that. He'll listen to all of our points and arguments and stuff. But we wanted to focus more on the teams that are more interesting to each of us rather than to try to cover and just do general statements across all their teams. We kind of want to dive into and try to point out flaws, strengths, and stuff like that. So we thought it'd be a different type of feel. Along with that, you can follow us on Twitter at ShaggingBallsPC, at Kasey there, because he runs that Twitter. He loves talking to everybody. We also have an email. It's shaggingballspodcast@gmail.com. And we are live. We do live recordings on Twitch where you can see all of our pretty faces. That's Shaggin Balls on Twitch.tv. And then if you want to see any replays of us, or if you prefer listening on YouTube or anything like that, we have a YouTube as well. And that is Shaggin Balls also. You can look for a bright green background with a baseball. That's us if you're looking us up. Along with that, we're on various podcast platforms for all you audio listeners as well. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into our pack openings now. And this is the 5th time that we're opening it up. So we're going to kind of start recycling the order again. We're going to go back to Pete first, and then me, Jrob, and Kasey. And then Kasey will open up a snake draft. Any player that's a duplicate pull of somebody else, he's voided. You can't use him. So hopefully next episode we'll have a season structure to where we can try to start coming up what we're going to do with all these cards that we're acquiring and then building up our rosters and whatnot. But lead us off, Pete.
All right. Just as a reminder, my team is definitely the best right now. I have Arenado, Yelich, Javi Baez, Simeon from the A's. So my team's pretty stacked. But my first poll tonight is going to be... performance issues. Oh, John Lester.
Okay.
Another decent rotation arm. Do you really?
I do.
Well, first pack.
My team's so stacked.
Oh, this is looking real familiar.
Wait, what?
Getting snubbed.
Just have another one of them?
Back to every other week.
All right. Yeah. All right. I'm up. Boom. There he is. No one's has him. No. No one's got this guy.
Bitch.
Nope.
No one's got Aaron Judge.
No, I have him.
Aaron Judge?
I have him.
Yeah.
Get your ass out of here.
Kasey's blocking.
Get your ass out of here.
Oh, God, what a beauty. I'll take that card off you, Jake, since you can't use it.
All right. Fair enough. Jrob?
Am I up?
Yeah, let's pull a playable player.
Tommy Listella from the Angels.
Kasey's got him too.
Already.
Kasey just blocked 3 people.
Already?
Kasey goes last, and he might pull the first actual usable player in the draft for today. That's crazy.
All right. My first guy is
This could dictate the whole season right here.
Kyle Seager.
Oh, I got him.
I think
4 for 4 blocked.
And my second pull.
God.
Oh boy, Lindor.
Oh, Francisco.
There's my shortstop. Where's my shortstop?
Oh, man.
You're all
Mr. Smile.
You're all done.
That's the
I'm
best.
winning this
That's the
whole
best
thing
card
now.
pulled, unless you got a Trout. Go ahead, pull it
here's
out.
mine. Cubs. So if anybody wants him. He's not even going to start because it's a shortstop. Nico.
Oh, I got him already.
Yeah, Kasey already has him.
Sorry.
Kasey's blocked everybody.
Jesus, Kasey. What the hell, man?
I'm going to get real good at car throwing, dude. I'm going to stick one in the wall in a second.
Lourdes Gurriel Jr.
Junior.
Ooh, the not so
Worst,
good
isn't it?
Gurriel.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got the worst, brother. I got. Pretty sure someone has him already. Max Kepler.
I don't think so.
Does no one have him yet?
He had a great year last year.
Yeah, that's a solid pick. If nobody has him, I swear
don't think
somebody had
so.
him already, though.
No, I think I don't have.
I don't think anybody really has any twin players, honestly.
Well, hell yeah, 36 homers last
Someone
year,
has Jorge
boys.
Polanco, actually, I think.
That's what we're looking at.
Very good.
And my next poll is gonna be Paul DeJong from a shitty organization. So
Paul DeYoung? Are you kidding me? It's not DeYoung. It's Paul DeYoung. You dipshit. He's a freaking great player. Don't you dare talk shit.
maybe
on
if
him.
he was on a
Hey, don't
good
dare
team.
talk shit on my friend Peter.
Hey, thank you, Casey. I appreciate you.
I will fight right now. Don't even test me.
With that trash ass flag in the back.
I got Nelson Cruz from the Twins.
I just pulled Christian Yelich. Like, he
Oh,
already
shit.
pulled him. I
Oh,
pulled Aaron Judge and Christian Yelich, but both have been picked already.
what a rap you would have.
Old. Okay. Mine is Yasmani Grandal from White Sox.
He was already pulled last week.
Yeah, I got Grandal.
Dang,
Good
we're
work.
getting stuffed this week, guys.
Jesus, Casey.
All right. My next guy is Starlin Castro.
Do you want my two copies?
Yeah, I do. And then Lourdes Gurriel.
Wow.
So we've pulled like
Wow.
2 usable players, or 3,
This-
4,
this-
4. I think we've pulled 4.
That's been an
might
interesting.
He
have
got
another
back-to-back
one right
ones.
This is an Orioles player. Trey
Turner?
Mancini.
Oh, Trey Mancini, Orioles. Yeah.
Fill first base. Trash.
All right, here we go.
35 bombs.
Zach Gallen, pitcher from the Arizona Diamondbacks.
I actually like him.
Do you? I got a rookie card.
I
Of it. It's a
got-
rookie card.
Mike Yastrzemski.
Nice.
Too bad it's not Carl Yastrzemski, but
Yeah,
you know.
I think it's his like grandson.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember exactly, but not quite the stats. Luis Castillo as well.
Oh my gosh,
Well, you know what I'm saying.
very good arm. I don't think anyone's
I'll
pulled
take
him.
that. I
He's
don't
pulling a
think
good pack right now.
so. I tell you,
Seriously.
I already had the best team, and I'm just creating a bigger gap.
All right, rookie card to Javi Baez.
I already have him.
Dude, I have no
Have
words.
you added anybody yet?
I've added Lourdes Gurriel Jr. in a rookie card.
Oh,
Hey, my pick. I'm gonna freaking love this because, yay, Francisco Lindor.
Oh my god.
good lord! What a
Dude,
week
this
for
week
Casey.
sucks.
Yeah,
sorry, Jrob.
lame as hell.
My next pick is I already got him. Yordan Alvarez.
Jordan Alvarez.
And my next is opening day in Seattle, boys.
Ooh,
Ooh.
okay.
Hey, hang that on your wall behind you.
Hey, does it feel
That'd
weird?
probably be
to
worth like nothing in 20 years.
My home stadium, boys. I got my home field going.
Okay.
Just put it on the wall in the very back. That way we can see it.
Just like tiny.
Okay. I feel like someone has this. I don't know for sure, but Vlad Jr.
I don't think anyone has Lad
I don't
Jr.
think anyone has Vlad Jr.
Is that a rookie card too? No. He was a rookie
card.
last year, I guess. All right. Javi. I think this means I get to
Ooh.
use him because it's shiny.
Negative Ghost Rider.
Look
I
at
got
that.
Lindor.
That means I get to use them, right?
Oh,
I don't know,
Nope.
man.
that's really cool.
I pulled him first. Get out of here.
Pete, you got anybody else?
I'm sorry. I was looking to see if I had Vlad Guerrero Jr. Got Oscar Mercado,
Nice, solid center fielder. Or he had a good
outfielder from the
campaign.
Indians. Yeah, pretty decent. And then the mascot for the best team in that division, Clark, the Cub.
Better watchers.
Clark the Cub.
Yeah. I tell you what,
No one has even heard
probably
of that
starting
kid.
him over DeJong.
Young.
DeJong.
The
The
young.
card says whether dueling with lightsabers on Star Wars night.
Pete's got 2 lightsabers on his wall today.
Yeah. Crazy. All right, I'm out.
I'm also out. I have you have just received an MLB sticker collection preview card from 2020 opening day. Ooh, cool.
Shoot, dude.
Next. I have Miami Marlins opening day. Trash.
Sick.
So
At Juno Stadium.
what do you got, Kasey?
I mean, I got Hunter Renfroe. Someone already has him.
So
How many cards
they
did you guys get?
photoshopped him when he hit his walk-off grand slam against the Dodgers. So Lindor got pulled 3 times today.
Why couldn't I use that pack last week? On freaking Thursday.
Look at
5
this.
out of my 7 were useful.
Look at my pack.
5 out of your 7?
What could have been my
Oh
pack?
God.
I got 2.
It could have been Javi Baez, Lindor, Yelich, and Judge. It could have been.
That's tough.
Dude, why didn't
Imagine
you use
if
that
you-
the other week?
I should have used that
killer
freaking
pack.
week 1,
If you
man.
pulled that the first week, if that was your first week's pack, that would have been.
Yeah, and then I had Rendon the time before. This is like a freaking collection of studs I can't use.
That's rough.
Yes.
That's some
You
rough
hate to see it.
reminders.
All right. Well, I think
You
that's
hate
the
to see it.
quickest run through that we've had. It was like definitely the most
I guess-
different now that we've had a lot of people. Mike Trout's still out there. Who else is still out there? There's a lot of pitchers out there. I feel like none of us has really like accumulated too many starters.
Speak for yourself.
Like, big starters.
Yeah, I
Like-
got a
like
good amount
top
of
end
arms. I don't have,
starters.
like,
Yeah,
I
good.
wanna say-
You guys, there's some good starters, yeah, but how many aces do we have?
I
Like
have
we should all have at
Paddock,
least 2
I
or
have
3 aces on
Stroman, Bueller, Kershaw.
Bueller's like
Lester.
the probably the best one, sadly to say. Castillo's really good, but there's still like there's a lot of good pitchers out there.
Crisell.
So I'm out of packs. Did I get more? Or
Kasey, do you still
how-
have an
Out of
extra one?
packs?
No, I do not. I'm out too.
Oh yeah, because you had that weird poll of like
Yeah,
all the.
I thought maybe
Do
Kasey
we
had
need-
pulled 6 packs.
Do we need to invest in another one?
I don't know. It's I guess a discussion.
We can talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Off air.
we'll talk about it more off air. Anyways, Pete, you wanna tell us what we're about to go into here?
Alrighty. So, what's up, George? Our main topic of discussion today will be the NL East. But like Jake mentioned at the beginning, we're not
Wait,
just
the
going to go
NL
with,
East? I thought we were doing the AL East.
You can do AL. You weren't gonna win the NL anyways.
yeah, you argue whatever you
Okay.
want. You argue. Jake's bringing the heat today. He sounds prepared. I don't know about you guys. I'd be a little nervous. I was you too. But so we're not just going like normal division preview or like we just go over a little bit on each teams. We tried to have like a more deep dive by everyone into the team they were most interested in and thought would have the best next 3-year stretch. So it's not just only talking about this year, but like the next 2 years into the future as well. So it's like more of a in-depth / prediction type of deal rather than just going off, especially with this being such a weird year, just to, predict this year, which might end up being super crazy. Hopefully we'll have more details next week. But so NL East teams, we picked 3 teams. So there will be 2 teams that aren't discussed at all. They're pretty garbage anyway, so nobody's missing out on that much. But Kasey, because, you've been a little bit silent. So we're going to go with you first, give you the first opportunity to get it off your chest. Oh, and then, sorry, I'm going to, at the end, pick who I think made the best argument for their team. So we have like a winner in the discussion, basically. But Kasey, we'll go with you.
All right. Well, my team is the Mets, as you guys can see with my lovely Mets hat I have. Shout out Cano. I chose the Mets because I think they're the most ready. I'm still not a firm believer of the Phillies. I don't think the Phillies, in my opinion, have the most depth that the Mets do have. And I'm just going to read the Mets roster here. Just have it pulled up. Give me 1 second. So the rotation is DeGrom, Stroman, Porcello, Steven Matz, Michael Wacha, Noah Syndergaard. In the bullpen, you have their closer, Edwin Diaz. Shout out, former M. Dylan Betances. Pete knows him pretty well. Seth Lugo. So their bullpen is pretty solid. And then Wilson Ramos at catcher. I mean, he's not JT Realmuto. I will give him that, but Ramos is a pretty good player. Pete Alonso, the reigning MVP, the dude who just hit 53 home runs, something like that. So the rookie single season rookie record. My boy Cano, I mean, the sweetest swing in baseball, still at second base, can give you a solid 10 homers, a solid 260, 270 batting average. Everyday player. Jeff McNeil was an all-star last year. Amanda Rosario, solid shortstop. JD Davis. They also have Yoenis Cespedes. So, and just to name a few people, Michael Conforto. The Mets, in my opinion, are the most ready. I think they have a good kind of mixture because all these players are majority of these, not majority, there's some good chunk of these players that are still from their World Series running back in, I think it was 2015 was their World Series run they had. And then they have some experience, like with Cano in the playoffs with the Yankees. Pete Alonso kind of seems to be the real deal right now, coming off his rookie year, or Yoenis Cespedes. So they have a lot of like veteran presence with still some young players. I just think they're the most ready, in my opinion. I don't really pay attention to their farm system or haven't looked much into it, but just looking at their current opening day roster they have posted, I think this is the best team in the division. I mean, the Nats lost Rendon. That's a big bat. That's an MVP caliber bat they lost. The closest team would be the Braves, in my opinion. And I only see Acuna and Ozzie Albies, Freeman. I mean, they lost Donaldson. I don't see them making as big of a run or as ready to make a run as the Mets are in that division. And the Phillies, their best player outside of Nola and Harper is Realmuto, and then after that kind of just drops off. So, I mean, that's my argument. I just think they are the most ready team in that division.
Are you saying that's this year specifically, or the next 3-year stretch as well?
The next 3 years. I just think, I mean, if you lose Cano, you might lose Cano here in the next few years just because he's toward the end of his career. But they have Jed Lowry still. They have Luis Guillermo, excuse me. They have players in their depth chart they can kind of move around, and they have Jed Lowry just chilling on their bench. So he could step in and fill a little bit for an extra year or two after Cano's gone. Or if Cano does leave, Cano might decline. I'm not entirely sure. He had kind of an off year last year with the Mets, but he might be able to bounce back. I mean, crazier things have happened with older players. So I think they're the best team in that division for the next couple of years.
Alrighty. Jrob, let's go with you.
All right, where do you want me to start? Kasey, I'm going to go ahead and fill you in on what you should already know looking into this team, but obviously you do not. The Mets organization in the top 100 prospects, because you said you don't know about their farm system, you have 4 in the top 100, which is actually tied for second, I believe, tied for third. There's only 8 other teams that are ahead of you with either 5, or Tampa Bay has the most prospects in the top 100 with 6. But for you have the 62nd guy, the 63rd, the 84th, and the 93rd. So transitioning into that, the Phillies have the 30th. Alex Baum, I believe you say his name. He's a third baseman. Can play first base as well, but mainly third baseman. He's 30th overall, and he has overall 55 rating, like from the scouts rating or whatever, that 2 to 80 scale. To look into more to that, and we actually talked about that a lot last week. So if you tune in there, you'll learn more about that as well. But our second one was number 34, and he's a right-handed pitcher. Again, overall 55 in the prospect scale. And then we had number 87. He's a shortstop. Doesn't have a ton of power. Him as well. Overall 55. But he is a really good player. Like power is his lowest thing, but hit 55 run, 55 field, 55 arm, 55. So the Phillies have 3 players in the top 100 for prospects. That's in regards to the farm system. So future, Alex Baum, the third baseman, and then Spencer Howard is that that right-handed pitcher. Both of them are expected to make their debut this year. Obviously, with the shortened season, we'll see. But that's introducing them to the big leagues this year, and then that shortstop wouldn't be till 2022. But that's that third season. Obviously, with them just getting more experience in playing, especially the pitcher and that third baseman, that I feel like strengthens the Phillies a lot, especially because how high up they are in the top 100, and like if they continue to live up to their name and just play super well. Alex Baum, for example, he's in AA right now. His slugging percentage is .518. He had 145 hits, 30 doubles, 4 triples, 21 home runs, 80 RBIs. His average was .305 with 6 stolen bases. So this kid's definitely a stud, and he knows how to play. So adding that at third base, I think cheers up a lot of things right now. I mean, you have Segura at third for the Phillies, which is still obviously a good option, but he's 30 years old. Still, I mean, in the middle of his career, obviously towards the tail end, but he's still got some years left. That's a good option. Pitching is good for the Phillies. Like Kasey mentioned, the starting rotation probably right now would be Nola, Zach Wheeler, Jake Arrieta, Zach Eflin, and then Nick Pivetta, or however you say his name, sorry.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
Jake Arrieta is going to bring you good experience, especially for those young pitchers coming up from the minors, but then also that are just there. They don't have a ton. They already have some that are up, that are younger. But Zach Wheeler is a killer pitcher. He went 11-8 last year. Nola went 12-7. Arrieta went 8-8. Zach went 10-3 or 13. And then, yeah, I think the starting pitching is going to be better. Last year with the Phillies, they went 81-81. No way getting around that. They 100% underperformed. Probably were like the biggest letdown in 2019, especially with the addition of Bryce Harper and all the hype that was there. I think honestly Bryce Harper comes back with almost a vengeance this year, though, with the Nationals winning the World Series and then just trying to prove himself and like make it to where people don't think he's just like, I don't know, washed up or whatever, even though he's not that old, but just at his best year. I think he wants to prove his best years are still in front of him. I think our biggest competition is the Braves in this division, just because they have 5 prospects, with one being 13, 26, 37, 52, and 70 in the top 100. And they already have a lot of young talent on that team. So I think they do have a bright future. But everyone else in that division, Marlins actually have 6, or no, they have 5 as well. Mets, they have good pitching. I feel like, honestly, that pitching is going to get traded away because they're going to underperform again. And then there goes kind of the Mets. And I think the Mets are about to go through a rebuild for it.
To you're saying, like, you know, because a lot of these players, I mean, are these players going to push, like, established players over the top? That makes sense. Like, you're talking about rookies that are still in the minors. Like, the Mets have proven, like, talent. They have proven, like, ready to win now. I don't know if the Phillies, I mean, that rotation, you got to get past that rotation. You have the 2-time reigning Cy Young, DeGrom, lead it off with Stroman, Syndergaard.
Even in a
and like
7-game series, though, DeGrom can only pitch twice.
That's still 2 games you got to beat against DeGrom, arguably the best pitcher in baseball. And so I just don't think that the rookie talent could hang with that. I mean, that's the strongest standpoint the Mets have at this point is the rotation. Like, that rotation to me is really good. That's a really deep rotation. You got to face basically 1-2 starters every time through the lineup. I mean, you're having, let's see, I have it pulled up. Sorry. Exit out of that. So you have Rick Porcello, who, three: Steven Matz, Michael Wacha, Stroman, Syndergaard. So you still have 4 of those players you have to go through, and these are all really good pitchers that are established pitchers in their major league career. On top of that, you got to deal with Edwin Diaz in the bullpen, Dylan Betances, Seth Lugo. So their pitching is just kind of unreal in this division. I just don't think the younger guys that your prospects are trying to bring up could put the Phillies over the top in that division with this established ball club.
I think with the Mets, and the reason why they're not going to do what you want them to do is they don't have all they have is their pitching, honestly. Obviously, they have some good, like Alfonso, most home runs last year in all the majors, but you guys don't really have much more than that. And I mean, yeah, obviously you have some pieces, but you don't have anything that can bring star power. You guys went 86 and 76 last year. We're 11 games back of the Braves. And there's not much changing for you this year. You guys haven't made any like dramatic changes or anything like that. You don't have any prospects that are going to be your best prospects is 62. So there's not any super young talent that's going to come in and help potentially push you over the edge. Not that like a rookie's going to come in and make the biggest difference for any team. But like obviously unless like Alfonso, a player like that, but you're probably not going to get that from number 60 or whatever. You're probably not going to get that from 62. But that's what I mean though. Like you guys have killer pitching, and I recognize that and I understand. But you guys have had killer pitching. I'm gonna be honest with you, Michael Wacha. If you're a Mets fan, get ready for a letdown. Not that he's not a good pitcher, but he was in St. Louis for how long? And he came, I think it was the 2014, maybe 2013 playoffs. And I went to this neighbor's house that we were just talking to this guy. The only reason I bring this up is he was watching the playoffs in the game. Pretty sure Michael Wacha was pitching, gave up, walk-off bomb for us to lose the series. Obviously, that's one pitch, one at bat, one time. But he was super good when he came in. He was in the bullpen. And then, honestly, once he went to the rotation, he has good starts. He's a good pitcher. He had high hopes. He's never going to be more than like a 3 or 4 in a rotation.
Okay, so we just take him out. We just take him out and move everyone else up one. So you're going DeGrom, Stroman, Syndergaard, Porcello, Steven Matz. That's still a pretty decent rotation right there.
Yeah, let's let Jake talk about his team, and then we can debate all the teams together. So Jake, let's have you lay out your case.
All right. So, I don't know how this happened for all the listeners out there. I think the 3 of us might be like, yeah, the Braves are the best team, but that's not who I picked. I picked the Nats. And I'm going to start my case off by proposing just a very simple question. And it's just to think about. I don't need a response back, but what wins baseball games like consistently over the years? What is a proven factor? Is it hitting? Is it fielding? Or pitching? I'm gonna give you guys some examples of a good hitting example, and then I'm gonna hit you with a pitching example. So my hitting example that I want to demonstrate to you guys of a great hitting team is the 96 Seattle Mariners. The 96 Seattle Mariners had 2 players that had over a 9.4 WAR. Just to give you a little bit of reference, Trout had an 8.2 WAR in 2019 and won MVP. So Mariners had 2 players over 9. Those 2 players, Ken Griffey Jr. and a 20-year-old shortstop, Alex Rodriguez. They also had Edgar Martinez, who had an over 1,000 OPS, and Jay Buhner, who also hit 900 in OPS as well. Absolute dominant 4. They had a solid first baseman. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but their record overall for the season was 85 and 76. That, I don't know how you can put together a stronger offensive punch than those 4, especially with the dynamic ability of Rodriguez, who was stealing bags like crazy back then. Now, for a pitching example. So this one it's going to be a mystery for you guys. So let you think. So this season, this mystery team won 91 games. And the following offseason, they lost a player who produced a 10-plus WAR. Their next season, this 91 team improved and won 21 more games for a grand total of 116 games. The team is obviously the 2000 and the 2001 Seattle Mariner Club, who lost Alex Rodriguez to the Texas Rangers. How did they win? Sure, they had some nice pieces from the position player side. They brought in Ichiro his rookie season. They've had Edgar Martinez still, who is as great as ever as a good at bat. They had Brett Boone, who had a nice year. And they had a great glove out in center field with Mike Cameron. But none of these guys put up a 622 slugging and 52 home runs like Alex Rodriguez did that year. But somehow they still won 116 games. How was it done? They had great performances from the top 3 guys from the rotation, who all pitched 200 innings plus and had ERAs of 3.05, 3.6, and 3.43. That's over 600 innings of low 3 ERA in the steroid era. Incredible. So now to present my argument, I present to you Fluffy, the 3-headed dog named 3-time Cy Young Award winner Max Scherzer, World Series MVP Steven Strasburg, and Patrick Corbin, a guy with 2 straight years of 200 innings pitched and with ERA of 3.25 and 3.15. Now, the 2001 3-headed dog had great seasons. Their highest K per 9 between the 3 of them was 6.1 strikeouts per 9. That's what they averaged per 9 was their highest. That was Freddie Garcia, I believe. Now, Fluffy, my 3-headed dog of the Nats, they boast K per 9s of 10.6, 10.8, and 12.7. Kasey is going to talk about how great his pitching is and how how they're becoming really good and how they could be really great. The Nats are great. The Nats are producing now, and they're producing results like a 2019 championship. On top of that, the Nats also have the best hitter in the division. And guess what? He's 21 years old. His name? Juan Soto. Juan Soto, just to give you a fun little stat, players who have had 500 plate appearances or more in a season and have over a 400 on base percentage through their age 20 season since 1947, there's been one player, Juan Soto. If you go before 47, there's 3 players that come up. Mel Ott, Jimmy Fox, and Ted Williams are the only people you could compare Soto to if you look at on-base percentage through their age 20 seasons.
Fox? I love him.
He's great. Juan Soto versus Bryce Harper, just to paint why he is the best hitter in the NL East. On-base percentage, Juan Soto 401, Harper 372. Slugging percentage, 548 Juan Soto, Harper 510. OPS 949, Soto, Harper 882. OPS plus, which factors in park factor, the league average is about 100. Soto 138, Harper 125. Now these are just some examples just to paint why Soto is already a better player than Bryce Harper was. And I think Soto doesn't get as much recognition as he does because he lives under a lot of hype cloud, similar to what Rendon had during his time as the National. With Harper, Strasburg being like the number 1 picks and them being like the next great thing for that organization and stuff. Soto kind of came up, signed as a 16-year-old. That international class, he was like around the 17th best player prospect in that time, but all he did was just rake through the minors. He just raked and raked and raked. He only played like 100 or so games that came to the majors, and he's been performing like nobody's ever seen before. And those are my reasons why, because they're going to have Scherzer this year and next year. They have Strasburg for the next 3. They have Corbin for the next 3. They have Soto for the next 3. Kasey talked about how you had to face a 1 and 2. I think Kasey probably has the best pitcher on his team. I think DeGrom is the best pitcher from the division. I'm not going to argue that. But I think Scherzer, Strasburg, and Corbin give you the best chance to win a series. And that's what the season's all about, is winning series. That's what wins produces through a season long time, and they can produce in a playoff scenario just like they did in 2019. That's why the Nationals are the best.
Do you think Carter Keyboom is going to replace Rendon's stats offensively? Do you think Asdrubal Cabrera is going to replace it? Do you think Starlin Castro? I mean, these are you guys have at third base. I mean, I get Rendon's one player, but that's like if you take Alonso off the Mets are nowhere near a contention with offense. And you have Starlin Castro, Howie Kendrick. I mean, yeah, granted, Howie Kendrick had a great playoffs. I like Howie Kendrick as a player. I think he had a great playoff run. But do I trust Starlin Castro, Howie Kendrick to repeat that? Or especially Howie Kendrick? No. I don't really trust. Your best offensive hitter in your infield is Trey Turner. Your best offensive player at all on that team is Juan Soto. And I like both those players, but I don't think... I don't know. It's hard for me to give the Nationals any hope for that. Your pitching, definitely. I think you have a good rotation. I mean, I like Corbin. Strasburg's a great pitcher. Scherzer is probably the second best pitcher in that division. But can they repeat it? I don't think they can. I think Rendon going to the Angels is too much of a loss for the Nationals to recover. I mean, and they can prove me wrong. I mean, granted, you guys lost Harper the year before and won the World Series, but I don't see that happening twice. The Lightning doesn't strike twice that way, in my opinion.
So that's why I painted the picture of A-Rod leaving, a 10-WAR player, better than Rendon, and somehow they still were able to produce 20 more wins. I don't think Rendon is going to be that big of a subtraction to the team. I don't think Carter Kieboom is going to do what Rendon is. No way, no how. But overall, I think the argument that you're putting out saying there's major league hitters, I think the Nats have that as well. I think Trey Turner, when he has a healthy finger, when he was playing with his fractured finger throughout the most of the season in the playoffs, I think he's going to take a step forward. I think he's an all-star. I also think Soto's an all-star. And then I think those three pitchers are an all-star. That's 5 all-stars on the team. I don't think anybody else is probably an all-star except for Victor Robles, but he's young, and I think he probably is an all-star in year 3 of this. He's the best defensive center fielder, similar to Mike Cameron of the 116 win team from the Mariners in 01. I think they're strong up the middle. I think they have great defense. I think the tandem of the catching duos, I don't see a weakness in the offensive. I think Cabrera is a great hitter. You love Starlin Castro. I think Starlin Castro is a great second base. They've added Marcus Thames to help with first base. I don't think Howie Kendrick... Eric Thames, thank you. And then I think Howie Kendrick, he rates really well on the StatCast side. He has a really high exit velocity, and I think his bat is still very productive. And guess what? The season is looking like we're going to have 2020 and 2021. We're going to have the DH. So I think Howie's going to be able to actually be more impactful than what he would be, because I think he's going to be able to rest his older legs. But we all saw what Howie can do in a clutch situation. He just showed up time and time again. I think that's a bat that is very fearful for major league pitchers try to get out. You don't last this long in the game if you can't hit, and that guy can hit.
A couple things.
I mean,
real quick.
you made. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jrob.
Oh, no. You were on a roll, dude. Freaking get like a tire and keep going.
I mean, you talked about a 1-2-3 basically rotation. I mean, DeGrom going against Scherzer, I'm going DeGrom. Stroman, Strasburg, it's a coin toss. I feel like it's
not. No, it's not.
I think so. I truly think that.
Okay, you want to argue that? You want to go into it?
I think Steven Strasburg is the most overrated player. How is it that the dude can go from San Jose throwing 100, do nothing, absolutely dog shit performances year in and year out? The dude was ass.
What?
He has one good year, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh shit! Here I am, Steven Strasburg. I learned how to throw a fucking curveball." Oh, congrats, Steven. People have been doing that for years. I think he's overrated. I don't like Strasburg. That's one of the players I do not like. I don't like him. So you
don't like him doesn't mean he's not a great player.
I think players can have a few good seasons. He had one good season and he got paid.
He had a great season last year. He had a great 2017. He has great results. The one thing, if you want to knock, is health. But with his last year of throwing well over 200 innings, 209, and then pitching throughout the playoffs, I think that erases a lot of that doubt.
Anyway, Corbin. Okay, go ahead, Jrob.
Oh, if you got more, dude, freaking your tire. Keep on rolling, dude.
Nope,
you got a lifetime warranty on those.
I gotta change it out. I'm gonna pit stop right now.
Just a quick stat: Marcus Stroman's highest strikeout season, 166. Steven Strasburg, 242.
That's not hard when you're playing in the AL and you got to deal with the DH.
That's like almost 100 point. That's almost 100 difference right there.
The pitchers. I mean, you're facing pitchers every time you throw.
Do you
at
think
least 3 times.
100 pitchers in?
All right, if you want to argue that, I can go over how terrible Marcus Stroman was as a New York Met when he came over, and he's pitching in the NL, so he's pitching to pitchers.
So, are you going to defend Josh Donaldson too when he was struggling with the Braves last year?
Josh Donaldson was a great player last year.
It was cold first half. He got good when he started seeing more pitchers.
Yeah, well, when you look at complete seasons and you're looking at a stat line, you're not saying, oh, cold first half, cold second half to get rid of it. You're looking at a full complete season, which Juan Soto is incredible month to month to month if you really want to break that down. But yeah, Josh Donaldson's one of the best players, I think.
Juan Soto, I think is like one of the best players in that division. I think Juan Soto is going to carry that ball club. I'm not talking about Juan Soto right now, though, am I? I'm talking about
Josh Donaldson, Stroman, apparently. Stroman is he's good, but he's not top tier caliber.
All right, Jrob, you fueled up. Let's hear what you got ready for us.
Dude, got 3 tanks full over here. Couple things. One, I don't think the DH is actually going to be in place this year, next year, because the players waived their thing in the MLB.
Yeah, it's a hypothetical.
Rob Manfeld or whatever. Yeah. But with that as well, these are some questions for you. You may or may not know, but with the Nationals throughout the year, like a general question, don't need necessarily specifics. It will specifically regarding their starting rotation. Did they deal with a lot of injuries last year? Do you know? Do you remember?
Between here, I think I have a tab pulled up of it. I'm just not going to be able to see your beautiful face for a second.
Dude, split it.
Corbin was 202. 202 innings. Strasburg was 209, and then Scherzer had a slightly unhealthy season for his standards. He threw 172 innings, 27 starts, so he missed like 6 starts that he normally would have had. So a little hurt.
So relatively
healthy.
He was a little hurt, but pretty healthy. At the same, so where I'm going with this, and with your point of like, and I agree with you, like with losing Rendon, Kasey, I agree with you. That is a big blow. I also agree with you, Jake. I don't think that's necessarily going to make them like fall off the map. And I don't think, Kasey, that's what you're saying, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a blow. Like, obviously, Rendon is a great player, but I don't think that's like a big of a difference as a lot of people are making it because they have such good pitching. But going towards the pitching, the Nationals started, 28-28 or something, like 50 games in. They were 500. They made the wild card. What were they? They finished the year 93-69, so not bad, but they're 4 games back of the Braves. That's actually good. 93 wins is a good year. But they got hot at the end of the season. And all 3, Corbin, Scherzer, and Strasburg, they've all been there for, when did Corbin get there?
Last year.
He came from Arizona, 2 years? Well, he did get there last year?
Yep.
So, I don't know. I don't feel like, obviously Corbin's a good pitcher, but I think he's number 3 there. But like that, I don't know. He's not the difference. Obviously it's a lot of pieces, but it's not just him that took them to the World Series and won. Like, it isn't just Corbin. But and obviously and sadly, look at the NLCS or whatever. There's the starting pitchers, not even like those first 3. Whoever pitched Game 4 as well.
Anibal Sanchez.
Yeah, they like all 4 of the pitchers, I believe, went 7 or more innings and gave up like 1 to 3 or like 1 run or none, 1 or no runs. It with like 4 or 5 hits max. Like they pitched lights out that series, and then they pitched well again in the World Series. Obviously, with winning but I don't think that's sustainable. Like, obviously, pitching at that rate isn't. Like, I mean, no one has done that for an entire year, like, especially, like, 3 players on the same team. But, like you said, I think injuries are a big factor that are going to hurt the Nationals. Strasburg gets hurt, it seems like, every year. And then, obviously, I mean, didn't he have Tommy John's couple years?
Yeah, he's had Tommy John early in his career. It's way in the past now, though.
Yeah, it's been multiple years. But yeah, I remember just him coming back and the Nationals were making a push towards the playoff, and then they were like fighting how much they wanted to push him, like with innings and everything, because he was on the innings limit. And I don't know.
So I got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
You know how many division titles the Braves won through like the 90s into the 2000s? In a row?
In the 90s and 2000s?
Yeah.
So like 90 to 2010?
They won like 14 division titles in a row or something like that. Why?
I thought it might have even been more than that.
Could have been more. Why? Maddox, Smoltz, Glavine, Scherzer, Strasburg.
How many World Series wins did they win in that time, though?
DeGrom,
Are we arguing World Series wins now? I mean, they have one. They already tied. They already tied the Braves. Braves had one.
Yeah, well, but my point with that though is like if we're talking, I think better team, like who's going to be the better team at the end of the 3 years, like I think that's also, is that who wins the most World Series? Is that division titles? That's probably what it should be. I mean, obviously World Series is like the biggest trophy, but if you're competing within a division,
yeah, I think you decide yourself what you want to make the argument on and lean on it.
I mean, with that though, that shows me that obviously that's a great team and that's going to carry you, but it only gets you so far. Like if you just have pitching. And that's why I think like same thing with the Nationals and same thing with the Mets. Like, and obviously it goes the other way as well. If you're heavy hitting side and you don't have great pitching, that's going to hurt you.
Yeah, you're not getting anywhere. You need pitching.
Yeah. You can put up a ton of runs, but if no one can pitch on your team, you're going to give up a bunch of runs. So it's going to be an AL battle to the max. Like, I don't know. It's like having a DH in there, except everyone's getting freaking home runs.
How are your feelings, Jrob, on Real Muto leaving after 2020?
Honestly, like, I don't know.
To me, he's the second best player on that team, or best.
Yeah, like I mean, I think for sure, like he obviously put up a killer year. Like he hit 25 bombs, 83 RBIs, he had 9 stolen bases, batted .275. Out of their starting lineup, the only people that batted better than that was Segura. He batted .280. I mean, Harper batted .260. I mean, Harper did have 35 bombs.
Do you think he's leaving though? 2020
RBIs, though.
After 2020, you think he leaves?
Who, Ramuto?
Yeah.
Who?
I mean, there's 29 teams out there. They have a chance to re-sign him. I think that's a big key for them to being successful in the next 3 years, though. Outside of their pitching, is it's I don't know. It's not the greatest thing. I think Segura also struggles. Him putting up a 1.3 WAR, which was like cutting in half what he had produced the previous few seasons, which was like a 3 WAR, and now he's moving off of premium defensive position. He's going to second or third, like you had said. Him just continuing to digress, and they're paying him like 13-14 million a year for the next handful of seasons. Kind of hurts.
Yeah.
What has to go right for the Phillies? What do you think it goes right for the Phillies to be able to be the best team from this in the next 3 years? What has to click for them?
I think, honestly, going back to their prospects, not just this, I think it's a combo of things. But if that third baseman, Alec Boehm, or however you say his name, Bohm, like if he comes up and he produces, and again, he's supposed to be entered this year, and obviously it's AA, it's not the majors, but 305 in any league is pretty dang good if you can hit over 300 with great. 80 RBIs, 21 bombs, like, and that's the thing. Maybe they try to get rid of Segura, and then he comes and plays third base. I think that's an improvement. Not just like necessarily offensively, or maybe not necessarily right away, But long term for the club, like especially looking in 3 years, I don't think they'd trade him this year. Maybe next year if they're not in contention or like aren't super close and they want to get rid of him, especially with like all the money and everything. But that'd be a hard sell just because he isn't producing as much as he was. But I think with Ramuto or whatever, I think he stays depending on how the team produces. If they have another bad year this year, if they don't perform this year, like with Bryce Harper and everything, I think he'll probably leave just because, I mean, as every player naturally wants to win. And if they have good players there, and they're not producing, then like if it was me personally, then I would want to move on.
Yeah.
Not to do with anything with the team, but obviously you only have so many years you can play. So you want to win as much as possible. But I think Didi's getting old. I mean, not
he's only
old.
1 year
30.
too.
Andrew McCutcheon's 33.
He's only 1 year.
Like there's a couple of these players, that are 1 year. I think it's like it's kind of they're almost in a win now situation for sure, especially with like Jake Arrieta as well. Like he's getting up there in age.
He's probably gone after this year
so
too.
It's just it's like I think they have to produce. The only way like a lot of these players stay, or if for any of these players to stay, is they have to like win big. And then I mean with some of these players like coming up on contracts as well, they're not going to be able to get, or the Phillies aren't going to be able to pay all of them to be able to keep everyone around. So
I feel like I
don't know. I think
the Phillies to click, it's going to require like Wheeler real actualizing his talent of actually putting together like a complete season and like is like a true 1 or 2, and then Aaron Nodal's like the debate between who's the better pitcher, and that's a big ask. Like so then then you're like you have a strong argument maybe against our Scherzer and Strasburg. It's just we haven't seen it yet from him. Nola had a good year the 2 years ago, solid last year, but is the solid more of a regular thing? And then he needs somebody else to really step up and take like that 3 spot. Because Arrieta, I don't have any faith in that guy. I'm sorry. He has like a team option the next 2 years afterwards. I don't think they picked that up for the $20 million per. He's had great as a Cub for that like 2 year, 1 year span where he hit the Cy Young, but he just hasn't been able to like find his consistency.
He's able to reproduce that, And I think with Nola and Wheeler, I think I mean, Nola was 387 last year. Wheeler was 396. So I mean, those aren't terrible, but those numbers can definitely drop. And I think if they kind of like step up that 1-2, and then they find like a role for the 3rd, and maybe a couple years down the line, it's that Spencer Howard who's got a lot of good potential and everything. Then I mean, I don't know. They're talking about him like he could be really good, not necessarily like a 1 or 2 necessarily, but
Philly's
like
tough.
I mean, that's a good 3 pitcher.
Philly's tough because it's hard to attract a pitcher to come pitch there. Like, I don't know how they got Cliff Lee to do it at times, and they traded Roy Halladay. That's when they were amazing. But Kasey, I don't know if you want to jump in, or Peter, maybe if you guys want to like re-navigate so we don't just keep rambling and whatnot. Maybe we can.
I have a question for Kasey actually, because you mentioned like the Mets are the most ready, have a lot of veterans and things like that. So why would you think their results will be differently than they were last year? Like since they didn't really necessarily add huge pieces to their team, and like their rotation and stuff has been there, and they haven't had results yet.
Well, I think Stroman with a full year at the Mets he'll have better results than he came over from Toronto. It might be the resurgence of Michael Wacha. I know Jrob doesn't have much faith in Wacha when he didn't produce for his Cardinals, but kind of what I saw with like King Felix in Seattle is, he didn't have the best spring training, but he definitely resurged, I guess, in a sense. He looks a lot better than he did in the past 2-3 seasons with Seattle in his first 4 starts with Atlanta. He had more of a breaking ball. He just looked more confident. And so I like to see those 2 pitchers kind of go off with it. Betances and Edwin Diaz, I think same kind of deal. Like Edwin coming from Seattle, leading the league in saves in 2018 for Seattle, and coming over and facing different hitters. Just couldn't quite put it together. I don't know. I think Alonso having a full season, I don't think he broke camp with the Mets last year. He was a late call-up, or maybe I'm wrong. I think it might have been someone else I'm thinking of. But
he broke
I just
camp
think
with
the
them.
more this team, he broke camp with them.
Yeah.
I have faith in this team. I just think this team on paper looks really good, better than I think any team in the division. And I think if they can at least put it together, I mean, and look at the Mets too, like some of their box scores, I kind of see they lose games they shouldn't, like to the Marlins. I mean, that's going to happen in 162 games. You're going to lose games you need to win. But I think the more time you give this team, like, especially like if they can get, well, even with the shortened season, if they can catch fire right away, they're going to be hard to catch. They have good they're very solid offensively. They're very solid defensively. Their pitching's, in my opinion, I think the best in the division. They could really set themselves apart, especially with the shortened season, just by putting themselves farther ahead.
Hey, so Kasey,
And just like the
super
Nationals
quick.
last year. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, you finish your thought. Finish your thought. And then I'll go.
Well, just like how the Nationals were basically written off in May, and they got hot at the right time, and they couldn't be stopped. It's the same. I think I could see the same thing happening with the Mets. But anyway, go ahead, Jrob.
You want to compare to my team? That's a good thing.
Well, like your
Just to
last
give
year's
you a
team with
couple stats.
Rendon with Rendon Nationals, Jake. Not post
Nationals.
Rendon.
Just give you a couple stats on Michael Wacha. Last year, he went 6-7, posted a 4.76 ERA, which was second worst of his career.
This is fun. You want to hear Porcello's stats from last year, Kasey?
Michael Wacha's average.
Again, like I'm not talking about last year. Like if we want to talk about last year,
So we're not
you guys
talking
like to live
about
in the past. I
performances.
mean, I get it. You guys are acting like Pete with your 27 ring talk. I'm talking like we're talking
We're
right
talking
now.
about performances.
Look at
We're talking about
stats.
production.
Yeah, and
Not
exactly,
what ifs, man.
So what
Look,
I'm
when
saying
the
is
Mets win it, you guys quit your bitching.
he's declining. So this is my point at the beginning. Michael Wacha, when he came in 2013, he went 4-1, ERA 2.78. That's a good year. And I mean, he was coming out of the bullpen. He was 5-6 in 14. He went 17-7 in 2015 with a 3.38.
But here's the beauty of it. The beauty of it is we have a 6-man rotation. If need be, we can kick his ass to the AAA or to the bullpen.
Okay, so instead of doxing the rotation any further, I think despite what the performances are going to be, I don't know why you haven't talked about Syndergaard. I think he's really great. But I think the biggest question is, what is that rotation going to be like in 2021 and 2022? The only person under contract is DeGrom. Stroman's a free agent in 2021. Porcello's a free agent in 2021. Wacha's a free agent in 2021. Syndergaard's up for ARB. So he either gets traded or he signs for more money. And there's been a lot of discussion. So if you guys don't produce, then like if you guys don't hit in this 2020, when does like the Mets cut loose and start to try to rebuild around DeGrom and Alonso for like 2023, 2024 when they have those guys still under contract and stuff like that?
Stroman's a hometown kid, so I figured I'm pretty confident Stroman will re-sign with the Mets.
Okay.
I mean, he's a hometown kid. He wants to play in New York, so he grew up a Met fan, so he wants to be there. I'm assuming he wants to be there. I mean, Porcello, yeah, he could walk. I think especially if Syndergaard's got upper arbitration, I think they'll give more money. Why wouldn't they? He hasn't really not underperformed for the Mets. Who else did you see on that list? Wacha.
Yeah, everyone else is gone.
Yeah, I mean,
Matz is still there, I guess. But just for that year, just for 2021, 2022, everybody's gone except for DeGrom.
Well, good thing they got time to win too, huh?
Hey, that's a good comeback. That's a pretty good comeback right there. Let me ask a question, and this is for what is go around to everyone.
Yeah.
If you had to pick a team that's the most likely to win the World Series from this division in the next 3 years, who would you guys pick?
Do you want to go around, or do you just want to say it?
You go around. You can go first.
I'll go first. Braves.
Casey.
Yeah, the Braves.
Jrob.
I go with the Phillies. With my team.
Okay. All right. Do you guys have more questions or arguments or points you want to bring up?
I mean, we could go into it more, but I think we're kind of close on the time. So anything. I think the rest of the discussion is going to be coming from you, Pete. Maybe if you want a clarification on something real quick, but we won't go into any long spiels from this point on. I think you can say what you liked from each other, maybe ask about a weakness and how you think the team would address that or in some way, and then give what you think and why you think whoever you want to go with.
Okay. Another point I had for Kasey, we'll start with him because he went first, is because, you guys hired Beltran Carlos, the cheater, and then fired him. Do you think that turmoil, how do you think your team can handle that when they haven't shown to be the strongest results-based team yet?
You mean his whole 28 hours as a Mets manager? Next question.
I mean, it's still organizational, screwing things up. But so you don't think that'll have any impact?
No, he was there. Not even it was what, a couple of days at most a week that he was proposed the manager and then backed out when the whole allegations came out. I don't think there's enough time there for him to even make an impact with the club.
Okay. And then, Cano, love that guy. Absolutely beautiful swing. But how much longer do you think he can actually contribute to a team?
Well, considering a lot of people wrote him off last year, and granted, yeah, it wasn't a good year by Cano standards. Probably, I see
0.3 WAR.
First year's a 0.3 WAR.
About league average.
And he didn't really start toward the end of the season. So, he is on the decline. And at this point, it's almost like he's just there for, a filler. But still, he had 100 hits.
Sell some seats.
Yeah, well, no one's going to the games anyway. But anyway, the Mets kind of did the biggest bro move for the Mariners. And, because the Mets GM was actually Cano's agent a while back that signed that deal with the Mariners. And now the Mariners are like, yo, dude, come on. You owe us here.
Also, Jed Lowry's agent and DeGrom's, and then gave him a pad extension. He just bro moved all of his clients.
Yeah, every single one of them. Crazy. But okay, and then Jrob, for you. So let's say, because, Bryce Harper signed an incredible contract. Mm-hmm. Who doesn't want that kind of money?
Is that it? Bryce Harper?
I think he froze up. So yeah, talk about Bryce Harper. Say your question again, Pete.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, perfect. But so he, he still had actually a pretty decent year last year if you look at the numbers. Bryce Harper's not as bad as people make him out to be. But if he doesn't, you think, produce this year, do you think there could be the team tries to not move on because you can't do that kind of contract, I don't think, but backlash within the team or try to trade him or switch his position or something to try to.
Follow-up question to that, just to help clarify my question. When you say not produce, because again, he produced this year, 35 home runs, 114 RBIs, 15 stolen bases, only batted 260, but not terrible. Him not producing or the team not producing is your question?
Him, like I said, he did put out a really respectable season, but it's just he wasn't in the MVP discussion. He wasn't in what people would expect from Bryce Harper.
I think he wasn't in our MVP discussion is because his team went 81-81. I don't think he's going to win the MVP if his team went or got 100 wins, 162 losses, but with those same stats, that he had. But I think a big part of it as well, if he had the same exact season this year, granted, if it was another 162 game season, I think it's fine. I think a lot of the pieces around him, I think the starting pitching for the Phillies didn't turn out as good as people were hoping or expecting it to. And like we talked about earlier, pitching is honestly kind of the biggest thing for winning. And so because of that, I feel like that's where the Phillies dropped off. If he has that kind of season, I think he's fine. I don't think people are going to start to freak or anything. I don't know how you could. He put up 35 home runs, over 100 RBIs, almost 100 runs, 15 stolen bases. He was pretty much doing it in almost every category. Not all those are amazing, but all those are probably above league average for sure. So I think if he does anything like he did this last year, I think he's fine. I think the Phillies might try to move some other pieces to get more around him, because I think that is the biggest issue, or to try to fix some of the pitching. But I think that's why I think the Phillies are going to do good, because with the Phillies spending so much money on Harper, they almost have to do something. Like you can't give that guy so much money, because baseball's a sport where one person can't win. You can't put LeBron James on a team and then they become championship contenders. Like, it doesn't matter if you put whoever, Mike Trout, on somewhere, they don't automatically become championship contenders. I mean, look at the Angels. He's been there his whole career and they haven't been championship contenders any of the years, and he's the best player in baseball. The Phillies need to do to put more around Harper.
I mean, he also does have 12 years left in the contract, so you can definitely try to rebuild. But my other question for you is, where would you rank their rotation in the division? Because like they don't have Scherzer, they don't have DeGrom, who are probably the two best pitchers in the division. But like overall rotation, where do you think?
I put him at 3, behind not necessarily this order, but the Mets and the Nationals this year, at least looking at 2020, where they could be. I think with like next year, the year after, I think they could be 1 or 2. I mean, I think there's a bunch of factors that a bunch of things have to go right for the Phillies per se. But like, say the Mets or the Nationals don't perform, or like people get hurt, or they're just not having a good season, so they trade pieces away. Like with the Mets, if they don't get hitting, and like I think some of those pitching pieces are traded away just for them to try to rebuild. Nationals, I don't know if you could call them rebuilding, because they just won the World Series, and I don't think they are doing that. But like, I think they deal with a lot of injuries. So if those injuries hold up, I think that stock in their rotation drops. So right now, I'd say 3. I'd say potential, and again with Nola and Wheeler, and then, I mean, the prospect I was talking about and just others there, I think they could move up to 1 or 2 within the next 3 years.
Gotcha. Jake, for you, question, because like you mentioned as well, they lost Harper when won the World Series. So there's also like a lot of, I mean, the media talks about this and stuff, like Harper dislike. So you think that could almost be used as like a motivation, like screw that guy type of potential? Do you think there's like a kind of same thing? And there was even that with the Mariners, like you brought up with A-Rod, like a lot of people were kind of like, yeah, good, we don't need you or whatever. But with Rendon, there doesn't seem to be a lot of like, dislike or anything towards him. So like that could be a potential lost motivating factor. Do you have any like thoughts on that?
Rendon he's a big loss no matter what. I mean, just was it 2 episodes ago I was arguing Rendon for AL MVP. He was the best hitter in the NL East. I think Soto is now. You're right. Like him leaving was like a mutual thing, because you achieved your goal of getting that championship, and they had to make the decision of Strasburg or Rendon between them. They decided to go with the pitching because that's what eventually got them the title. They didn't re-up Harper. They didn't re-up Rendon. They got Corbin and they got Strasburg instead, along with Scherzer. They've been investing their money in their pitching, and their pitching has delivered for them. So Rendon, it hurts. But I think there's a lot of argument, maybe. I think you might be able to attest to this as a LeBron fan, and just say how he, year after year after year, he would go to the finals and he would have to play a lengthened season every year.
Mm-hmm.
That's an argument going into the next season. It's like, oh, the championship hangover. What is that hangover for 2020? Everyone that's going to be fully rested. Everyone's going to be ready to go day one. There's not going to be, oh, Strasburg threw his career high of innings in his entire career because he threw 209 in the regular season. Then he threw, I don't know how many he threw but say he threw close to 250. Well, guess what? He's had a freaking, what is it?
9 months.
9 months off from competitive pitching. So I think there could be, I don't think there was too much remorse towards Harper. I think the fans had that. I don't think the team, it's not too much of a problem on the team level. because I think they would still look around the locker room and saw a really, really competitive team. I think that's more of a fan perspective of, oh, we want to hate on Harper, because it's fun to build up these rivalries into like, it's fun as a fan to go boo the Dodgers or go boo the Red Sox. That's a fun thing for the fans to do. And Harper was like an easy target for that. But as far as like the player side, I don't think it probably way too much. But yeah, so that's what I think about the two free agents leaving. They're great players, still are great players, and are going to have great careers and could be potentially Hall of Famers. But overall for the Nationals, I think they still have that ace in the hole, which is their pitching, and can win you a game on any given day.
Gotcha. And then my other question for you, because we've seen a lot of like rookies come out and have incredible seasons. Like, I mean, obviously from Aaron Judge, but then it's like really hard for them to replicate that the next year and going forward. So like, you know, pitchers know more what their out pitch is, how to get them out, and just like get injured. We've seen stuff. So like, why do you think Soto can avoid that?
Soto's a very interesting player. A lot of players like Tatis, Vlad Guerrero is not a good example. Jay Bruce, Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, when all those guys came up and started, just they had a great month or a great year, just great debuts. A lot of that's weight on athleticism. Like they're just tearing up the bases, they're diving all over the place, they're hustling. But with Soto, his key stat is his on-base percentage. It's not a variance in, I hate to do this, but for Tatis had like a 400 BABIP, which is batted balls in play. So that's like his average whenever he hit a ball and it went to play. He was hitting for like 400. Now he had a high strikeout, and that's why the number is down more. But it's because he was fast, but he was also extremely lucky. For Soto, his walk rate is around 15%, and his strikeout rate is around 17%. So to me, that shows he mastered the strike zone. For somehow he's learned to master the strike zone. The other people who compete with Soto on a walk rate like that are right now is Bryce Harper, Mike Trout. I'm forgetting the other guy, but there's one other player who has 6,000 at bats over Trout's 5,000 and Harper's just around 5,000 as well. So those guys have 5,000 plate appearances, but Soto is matching their numbers with only like 800 plate appearances. He's already producing walk rates and strikeout rates at the top of the league at age 21. So that's why I don't think there's going to be a variance there, because his approach is so controlled at the plate that there's not the high volatility of, if he's not hitting home runs, then he's struggling. That's not it. He can get on base and can still produce a lot in that sense.
Okay. All right. Any final points from any of you guys?
I think my just one last final point is Phillies in 2021.
Kasey?
LOL. Let's go Mets.
Wow. All right. My choice is going to be Jake.
Wow.
And I definitely think his strongest point he brought up is pitching is going to get you wins. And we've seen Scherzer do it for longer than we've seen anyone else do it. Strasburg, who Kasey for some reason hates like no other.
You must have had him some fantasy year where he drafted him and got hurt.
Yeah, he's never been like as good as he was hyped right at the beginning, but he's always been a very good pitcher. And then Corbin. So like you building the rotation around those three guys, I think, and like you guys, except Jrob picked the Phillies, but I think would say the Braves have the highest potential to go win a World Series from this. But like, I could easily see the Nationals winning the next 3 division titles, and like you mentioned, building that on the back of their pitching. Whereas you guys have a lot more like, well, what ifs, but not like why it's going to be a what if. So that's why.
Jrob, we lost Jrob.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't like it.
Fit. But yeah, Jake would be my choice with the best argument.
Okay, who's your second choice then? Let's hear the teams in order.
just based on your guys' arguments, the Phillies. Because that's why, like, I even asked you, you're like, you said the Mets are better. You were like, oh, they're going to be better. But they haven't given results.
The only reason I chose the Mets was Cano. Like, that's my honest opinion.
That's fair. If I had to pick one player to watch in this division, I would pick Robinson Cano.
I'd pick DeGrom.
Loved that guy.
I love watching DeGrom pitch, man.
But yeah,
I think the Braves will have the best chance. It's just the rotation has to grow up. Like, they have a lot of young arms that that's what it's going to lean on them, I think, for that. So yeah, that's
also Kasey. That was the other point. I don't know how you kept listing Stroman in front of Syndergaard.
Yeah,
and so you're like, you'd go like
he likes Stroman, man.
Stroman, Syndergaard. I was like,
I can respect Kasey for sticking with his guys. He loves Stroman.
Yeah.
I love Stroman, so
I love Stroman. Now we gotta get Kasey a Stroman jersey for when he leaves the Mets next year. I'm just kidding.
I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing. Come to Seattle, please. Marcus, you're listening to our podcast. Come to Seattle. I need you.
I don't know if there's anything else that we want to do a post review for. We are kind of long now. So we can wrap if we want to. Was there anything maybe quickly from like somebody pointed out that you weren't expecting somebody to point out as like a weakness or as a problem for the team maybe? Or did everybody feel like the anticipation for like anything? I didn't get a poke at Kasey's position players very much, which was kind of smart of him to weigh on the pitching side because there's some weaknesses on that.
I definitely think, J-Rob's Alfonso knowledge was pretty hilarious to me. I did like J-Rob bringing up the prospects aspect because that wasn't a thing I'd like super looked into. But
yeah, well, you could have weighed on. I think you probably have the better farm system out of the three of us. Is weigh on like what those assets, not what they could do at the major league level, but what they could potentially go get you for like a playoff push, like the Astros, where they go get Greinke, like where they go get Verlander. I think you could have said like Jake Arrieta is coming off the books. That's $20 million off the books. We're gonna go get a different pitcher. We're gonna go get a different guy. Like,
like talk about
go get DeGrom.
Yeah,
how the Phillies went and got Cliff Lee and Roy Halladay with their farm system.
Yeah,
and use that.
But that's how they got Rio Muto as well. Sixto Sanchez. I think they're gonna probably re-sign him. Honestly, I don't think anyone's gonna outbid him. That's what I think is gonna happen with Rio Muto. But Kasey, you want to give us the closing?
Go M's. Thanks for listening. Mets in 7.
Email.
You want to plug anything, Kasey?
What was that?
You want to plug any of our stuff, or you just say that and then we're gonna just close it?
Yeah, you're wrapping up.
You're doing the outro. You're doing the whole outro for the podcast, not just final words.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Thanks for listening, guys, to us ramble about the trash division of the NL East. Sorry to offend any fans out there.
We got some
Make sure you don't flame me on Twitter, please. I can't handle any M slander at this time. I'm already depressed as it is. Feel free to reach out to us on our email. It is shagginballspodcast@gmail.com. I read those. I've got nothing yet, so that's what.
You don't read them.
7?
There's none.
Yeah, it's 7 episodes in a row.
The streak's alive.
The streak's still going. Check out our YouTube for some other content in case you missed some of last week's discussions, or J-Rob's stupidness, or Pete's ignorance. Yeah. Any last words, guys?
I just have
Go M's.
Pete, this is the only thing I got to say. I have some facts I'm going to throw at you next week. And gosh, I don't know if you've ever been in a tsunami, bro, but bring your swimsuit because you're going to be drowning. So
bring the floaties, man. Awesome. Goodbye, internet.